launched and taken. What a catch! That's a stunning catch. Sensational catch. He's celebrating. It's happening. It's happening for Bermuda. Leverock the catcher.
He's on a lap of honour. Where is he? He ain't over there. He's miles away. Here he is, the big man. The fridge has opened. He's flown like a gazelle. I can't believe it. A brilliant catch. Boys, you need another 9 wickets. The game isn't over. What a stunner. Take a look at this. He sets off now. He's on his way. The earth shook. What a catch. Oh, what a catch. The big man. He's off. And we get a dance as well. Sensational start. Uttapar's gone for 3. 3 for 1.
Well, good evening and welcome to this edition of A Walk Down Memory Lane. I'm your host, Earl Basin, and joining me is co-host Dennis Brown. We are joined by 3 former international cricketers from Bermuda, Irvin Romain, Dwayne Slugger Leverock, and Lionel Can. Gentlemen, first of all, good evening.
Good evening. Good evening.
Dennis, another night that I think we're going to be thoroughly entertained. These young men here have done this country proud, qualifying for the World Cup, playing in the World Cup. Only one sport has made it to the what we would consider the mecca of their sport, and they've done it in not only the senior team but at the under-19s as well. But first of all, let's talk a little bit about the moment we just watched. Obviously, first game, first up. Tough task. Irvin, you go for the toss. What's the game plan?
There's so much that happens before that toss that people don't realize that. So many meetings and all that as the captain. Oh my gosh. The game plan at that time, I can't even remember if I won or lost, to say the truth. We had it worked out where, Gus was always telling us, get the jitters out and all that sort of stuff. We guys usually it's a plan of, we always used to say, get ours first and defend it. For some reason, it was opposite this time. When you're walking out onto that stage, alone, getting there, getting there from leaving the hotel, when you got security around you with guns and situations like that, it's another level. It's another level. You can't defer from being excited or nervous or whatever. You're just on such a high. You're on such a high. And me walking out to take the toss for the first time for Bermuda in a World Cup, it's just like, wow, cameras all in your face and things like that. Amazing. I would love to do it again if I could. I'd love to do it again.
Good. Well, Sluggy, we've talked about that moment so many times, but and each time we watch it and we remember it, it's one of those things where you get stunned and just as we talked with you and Dean prior to this, Dean says you said something's coming.
Yeah, I told him from the beginning. I just felt something was coming. I told him I'd take a step over to my right because I knew that Robin Uttapar's, I've watched him before. He likes to run the ball on third man to get himself off the mark. So I said, I think it's going to do this. If Malachi hangs his team just a little wide, I think something's coming. And then so said, so done.
And of course, for you, Lionel, many would say when you get to that level, you play against your idols. Going into the World Cup, everybody has a team of sorts. But what was that moment like for you going out on the field, first game, first World Cup appearance, knowing what the stakes are?
Just to reach the World Cup, the work that we have put in and stuff, right? And we wanted to play against, the best in the world. And at that time, India was one of the best in the world. So, we had prepared, we had our game plan to go out there, but it's not like when you step on the field and then when you're playing against your own team, which was India, I want to beat them pretty bad. So, especially when we got that early breakthrough, we felt like we believed that we can achieve something great that was there. That was like a big moment, perfect start, great team effort, great ball, great catch, so the adrenaline was running, and that was the moment that started off like, hey, we're here with the big boys.
Dennis?
Yeah, good night, guys. It's a pleasure to have you guys on. I promise not to talk to Lionel about the last 10 years of Cup match. I'll keep it clean. I'll keep it
And we
very
promise
clean.
not to talk about the 10 years before that.
Yeah,
How's
that's
that?
why I can't remember that. I'll keep it clean. Okay, guys. So being we're talking about the World Cup, one of the questions I heard was describe what it was like to play under a personality like Gus Logie, and what were you guys' preparations like? Nowadays, teams get together 6 months prior. What were you guys' preparations like? Were they a couple of years, or what was it like to play under Logie, and what were you guys' World Cup qualifying preparations like?
You can go first, Lionel. We're going to reverse.
Yeah. So playing on the Logie, I mean, it was before Logie, right? So it was like we were the last time we were going to be together. We had been playing international cricket for a while, and in 2004 when we got together, we were like, this is probably the last chance we could qualify for World Cup, because back then there was so many teams that were qualifying, and we knew that the game was becoming globalized, which will be tougher going forward. So with all the experience, and we felt we were top players, we thought we'll get together and give it a big shot. So we started training, everything was working out as a team. And then, Logie was the missing piece. When we went with Logie and we went to Trinidad, I'll never forget that first session. The boys would never forget. Everything was professional, everything was, cameras was there, trainers were there. And then like after 10 minutes, like Logie was like, turn the camera off. Like, this is total bull, you know what it is.
Yeah.
Like, what are you guys doing? You guys can't catch, you can't do anything. We thought we were good. And then Logie brought in the professionalism of us, set us down. He brought in, the trainers, the psychologists, all the stuff that we needed to get us to the next level. And that's where it all started. And then, it's just a matter of us grasping it and sticking together as a team. So the preparation into the World Cup has started years and years prior to that. It's just that we had put the work in, and Logie was the final tool that was missing.
Logie?
Yeah, it all started in the meeting that we had at Warwick Workman's. We were at Warwick Workman's, and they picked the training squad for the actual qualifications for in Ireland. And once that meeting was finished, like myself, Ken, Irvin, Clay, Dean, January, quite a few of you guys sat around outside, and we was really discussing, at heart to say, listen, we called it the last chance saloon. Because it's the last chance of, if we can't do it, nobody else is going to do it. That's how we approached it, saying, listen, we got training from now on, who can make it, go pick somebody up, make sure they make training, and we adopted that approach, and we became really, really close. You know what I mean? We looked out for each other. Even though we played against each other, we still looked out for each other. We make sure that, they are trying to be successful, and to, make sure they're making training sessions, make sure they're all right with work and stuff. We always looked out for each other. It's like one unit. Once we met up with Gus, it took us to another level. He made us believe in ourselves. And that's one of the hallmarks that we are. We was a team, we was a unit, and he made us believe in ourselves. He showed us different processes, and that was the key. The processes that we had to do, and we had to trust in him. To the process that he gave us, we just had to follow it, and follow it to the best of our ability. And once we got to Ireland, the first game, we got hammered. We got hammered by Ireland. They scored 300 something, and we didn't score. We scored about 100 and something, close to 200, and Clay got injured, so then we had to go from there. But I think I'll take it a step back. Man in Chief was a really key. That's where we really got together as a group. We had a heart-to-heart talk. Everybody had spoken their mind. But I'll talk about my friend, Mr. Cam.
Hey,
Mr. Cam
we'll leave that
had
story. We'll leave that story.
a passionate speech that got us good. And I'll leave it at that. A passionate speech. And then once we got to Ireland, we all done what we had to do and just battled on as a group. You know what I mean? And we always believe in each other, and just to know that with us togetherness, that's what carried us through.
Yeah, they like these guys said, the trench work was done 2004, going into 2005. The meeting that Slugger is talking about, after that, it was just, this is what we're gonna do. And when Logie came, the commitment that guy showed, that it was amazing. We trained him as every evening. We'd be around the gym. If it wasn't any training session, we'd be around the athletic club, putting in work, spinning with Bertha, doing on runs. The challenges were there, and everybody met those challenges. That was key about that team that qualified. You know, that was where the hard work was. When we went down, and honestly, that line I was talking about when we was in Trinidad, we went down there, I think, with 25 players, I think, at that time, because enough for two teams. We went with 25 players, and knowing that, like, that was, you have to make the final cut. And it was hard. It was really hard. We went there, like Lionel said, man, that camera started, we didn't know what we was in for. Logie came in, man. I'm never seen a rubber ball been hit that hard in my life for slip catching. We were running from a rubber ball, grand man. That boy said, "What is this madness? Turn it off! Turn it off now!" Honestly, we went down there thinking that we were something, and I think that was the key. We got humbled so fast, so quickly. Like, you know what I mean? We were playing practice games against the guys that's running Trinidad now. Like, you know what I mean? Pollard and those guys were youngsters. Guys getting 5 wickets against us and all that there when they was teenagers. Like it really humbled us, and we grew as a unit going forward. Not just the guys that made the final 15 or whatever, but the whole group in Trinidad pushed each other. It was a difference with that team where everybody wanted to see somebody succeed. Like, you know what I mean? It was never, oh, I hope you fail so I can make the team. It was a good group, and like I said, Logie brought the mental side of the game out of us, everything. And the mental stuff that he done, I mean, nowadays, it'll probably be called abuse. He made us walk up a mountain. Like, he sat us to put us on the bottom of a mountain in Trinidad and said, "We are getting to the top. See you when you get there." I mean, nowadays, you'll probably go to jail for abuse, like they say.
Yeah.
Trainer Jeremiah, and we went to Usher Bolton Stadium, where I was right next door to the cricket center. And we got there, and that guy made us squat and touch every seat in the stadium. We was like, huh? Are you serious? We had to squat and touch. Like, the level of fitness was like unbelievable. Like I said, nowadays that'd be called abuse. but it worked out well.
And you know, and just to piggyback on what Irvin was saying, and we're going up this mountain, and we're not just walking up this mountain. We're going like every 200 yards, you got to do push-ups, sit-ups, burpees, like, and you're pulling everybody. Nobody left alone. Like, everybody gets to the mountain, the top together. You know, that's how much we had, the core we had built together. I mean, it was just amazing. I mean, even at this where we were staying, we were up to 12 o'clock nights in the nets. Guys were in the nets, like, practicing till 12 o'clock at night, working on the game. Like, you know, guys had to come and say, "Look, man, come to bed," because everybody wanted it so bad, you know. So that was a team bonding. Everybody pulled each other along.
Yeah, and Jeremiah will come 5:30 that morning. The next morning, you hear that loud car coming down the driveway. You know it's time to get up and do your series. The beat test, you're running your gear, and it's so hot inside that you know, inside the facility. And you're running, you're sweating, and then you still got to do your work outside after your breakfast. And the time of Bashaga Ramas, that's the place where we went to climb the mountain. Jeremiah made me hold a piece of long bamboo over my head and walk up that mountain. The only time I put it down was to do push-ups, sit-ups with these guys. And then when he says, "Okay, keep going," and while they're doing what he had them doing, I had to keep walking with a bamboo over my head, a piece of bamboo, a long piece of bamboo, and he said, "Don't put it down until we get to the top."
And also when we got in, when we guys got in Ireland the first night, we didn't get there till like 1:32 in the morning.
No,
And
it was
we was like, hey, yeah, we're here. Look, you left the bus and said, see you guys at 6. We're like, huh?
Yeah.
We just traveled all this way. You're talking about what? Training at 6?
Yep.
Bang, 6 o'clock. Training that day, first night there on arrival.
Yeah,
Right.
we got there 3:30 in the morning.
Yeah, something like that.
And 6 o'clock we was out running before the alcoholics out there shouting and cursing us in
Yeah,
Belfast.
in Ireland.
And
In
saying
Belfast.
one of these
We'll
boys
never
still
forget.
running around Belfast.
Yeah, we'll never forget that night. We got off the bus, and as we're going into the hotel, which is the Excalibur, that had been bombed 27 times by the
Yeah,
IRA,
tell us.
and they tell us it's been bombed. So we get out, and it's this Miss Ireland beauty pageant.
Yes.
So yeah, remember we go in, guys was like, yeah, this is the place we want to be. This is like 3 o'clock in the morning. 6 o'clock we were up running, and where's the coach? Coach didn't even show up. We got up and done it ourselves. The coach said, I set you guys up to see how committed you were. But everybody showed up, and we done it without the coach. So we passed our first test. Everybody was there, focused and ready.
We're going to take a quick commercial break. When we come back, Dennis, I see you're ready to another question. We'll be right back.
Our old friends Arrowhead Mills was founded in the 1960s in the famous Texas Panhandle with the ambition to promote the production and use of pesticide-free grains, cereals, and pulses. The mission was to bring the most wholesome food attainable to the mainstream markets. Since then, Arrowhead Mills has increased its range of products, most of which are certified organic. You can be sure that Arrowhead Mills know a thing or two about good eats. This month, we're featuring Arrowhead Mills green and red organic lentils. Lindo's, why go anyplace else?
My inspiration to write this book has to do with empowering. I want people to understand what it looks like when you are in a position when you don't have the tools around you. If you know me or don't know me, the game, the beautiful game of football, soccer, is and always was a way out. Still fearful on what to do, what would happen if I say something.
What can we do in this book to incorporate tools to help specifically our group of young people in Bermuda?
Could you imagine doing a read with little people and breaking everything down for them and having them to have a voice and having conversation pieces, if it's chapter by chapter?
Welcome back. Dennis?
Yeah, one of the things I've taken like from the first 15 minutes is, especially in the World Cup preparations, is how these guys came together as a unit. It's really impressive to hear about how, because everybody always talks about, a foreign coach this, foreign coach that, but a lot of times foreign coach comes in with a professional mind. Not to say that local coaches don't have a professional mindset, but it's a different methodology and stuff altogether. So and to me at that time, and to see the team that you guys had, it was like the best players of that era coming together as a unit, and it was good to see, because even I used to see how you guys interact off the field, even when you're playing against each other, although it's competitive and war as the game's going on, but you guys seem like you're, still friends right up to today. One of the things that I love or just talking about this show is we never knew the journey of how someone got to their product. We don't know about the process, and people is going to be interesting tonight to talk about, not just you guys in the World Cup, but your process of how you got to the levels that you got to, because all three of you guys are, were excellent legends in your own right. And I saw something come up in the TV from Stevie Ottenbridge, and to talk for Earl is that on this show we hold nothing back. So I think Steve is talking about specific details about legendary stories, and you didn't finish the story about the meeting that you guys had. So in this show, we are very open. We don't hide anything. So we encourage you to open up. Don't be afraid. But it's a pleasure to have you guys on, man. And so after your first game, you played against India.
India World Cup, yeah.
In the World Cup. Okay, so let's go back to the qualifiers. So Ireland was your first game. You got hammered. What happened directly after that game? Immediately after that game, how did you guys bring it together? After the first loss, how did you bring that together?
Well, it was a serving experience. But we always said that that's the first game. It's out of the way. What do? We have to dig deep as a group, and we all talk. We used to have those meetings, and we amongst ourselves, and say, listen, it's about us. You know what I mean? Walter, we have to go in battle is us against them, because most of the time we have no fans. We only have probably Ice Water or Frank Morgan that came to the matches, but it was always us versus them. So we adopted the mentality and said, listen, let's just follow the coach's processes. Things are going to work out. So what we did is we always trusted in what Coach Logie said, and to continue to say, listen, this tournament's not over. We take one game at a time, one step at a time, and that's basically how. When we got through that game, we discussed where we went wrong in certain parts of the match, and we were ready for the next game the next morning. We were ready to go because we knew that coaches gave us his blessings and said, listen, we could do this, and we always kept in our frame of mind that we can make this qualification and we could do it, but you just have to just trust in the processes.
And after the first game, I don't know if you guys remember, the first game just didn't work out for us. We had lost Clay. Our skipper couldn't play the first game. And we went into the match and we had run-outs. I remember I got run out and stuff like that. It just didn't click. It just didn't click. But after that game, we came together and like Slugger said, our game plan changed, if you guys remember. We went to a process where we just said, you know what? We're just not going to give away wickets, because in associate cricket, usually your best bowlers start. You know what I mean? And we went to a game plan of holding down for the later overs, where Lionel and Dean would go there and blow it away. Like, you know what I mean? And our whole process changed, and it worked out amazingly for us. I remember sometimes UJ though, the one were out there and 10 overs going, we got 15 on the board and all that there.
Yeah.
But we knew later on we would capitalize on it, and it worked. From that first game, our whole game plan changed for how we played that tournament.
Yeah, and that was one of the keys. One of the keys were that we trust the process, and we really didn't trust the coach's process. We trust the players. We trusted each other into doing the job. And the first game we played, Ireland, they were the best team by far. They had Ed Joyce, Morgan, which is the captain of England now. They both got hundreds. And
they didn't want to give them up.
Yeah, we knew we knew we came up against it. And like Irvin said, we trusted the process. And we felt sorry for OJ and that one, because there's conditions. The ball was zipping all about 80, 90 miles an hour, ball swinging both ways. These guys' bodies were like dartboards. They were taking bangs and stuff like that, just through the team. And that was the thing, to keep the wickets in hand. And like Irvin said, the process worked throughout. Once we mastered the conditions, the coach came up with strategies, and everybody had to sacrifice their own. Some guys' game, they had to sacrifice their own game for the best betterment of the team. And it worked out for us in the end.
Well, the good thing about that, Dennis, was they didn't have much time to think about it, because they played UAE the very next day.
Okay.
So you lick your wounds and you go, and now you're playing another team, and you win that game. You win it by 30 runs.
That was a scary game there too.
Oh, that was very close. Very close.
UAE probably still hate me, because I remember that game, because at that point they put me up on the bet where I used to be playing for cup match, and no lie, the guy played the ball, came forward, I don't want to say I scooped it, but I picked it up and I was the only one going, what's that? There's the scientist little guy came out there with glasses making runs. Next thing you know, he turned around, the umpire gave him out. Oh my gosh. Everything was in the fan, right? Lock there's your way sometimes, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
and I mean, but that game was like, whoa, we're in it now. We're in it. We are in it. We are in it.
Yeah.
Good stuff. I remember that.
Well, we knew we couldn't lose any games after the first one. We knew we had to win going in to give us any sort of chance to go in. And like UAE was big. Everything we done that day just went right. You know what I mean? Everything just went right. You know, to the bowling changes will come on, got a wicket. Somebody will bowl. Two of us got a wicket.
Yep.
They'll be off. Sluggy got 3 or 4 that game. You know, like came on at the right time to the right batsman. It was like, you know, every that magic day. You pick the bowler, he's gonna get the batsman. Like it just happened for us, and that's when we knew, like, hey, we are on our way, man.
Yeah.
You know, we had Uganda next, then we had Denmark, and then America. So we were like, hey, we are in this. So we believed even more. And not only that, we also had, like, you know, let's say it, like, we guys were a little older, right?
Yeah.
So we had the best physios. We were getting the best of treatment. Guys, you know, getting the butters done. You know, ice baths. Guys that don't even take ice baths are like, look, we got to do this because it's a tight tournament.
Yeah,
you know?
it was.
Everybody sacrificed everything, you know, for the team. It was amazing.
Dennis?
Yeah.
Yes, Lucky.
Yeah, they're saying even with that, it's like we had, you know, Randall Smith was a key ingredient. He was like assistant coach in Herbie. There's, you know, we talked about things like he was able to sit down and, you know, guys to analyze the games and all that, you know, and that was one of the keys, because then we look back, you know, what could we have done a little different? You know, we're having a little conversation amongst ourselves, not the coaching staff. You're saying, okay, I think Ken and he could have just hung in there 2 more overs. Ken said, yeah, next game, Ken hung in there 2 more overs, 60 odd, easy. You know what I mean? Because, you know, his job was just to he had a license. That's basically it. When he came in, he had a license to do what he had to do. Everybody else, like Irvin, was there to grind out, you know, pick up a little 40 or 50. Then in the middle, Nero and Dean, they battled out together. And then when it came down to Lionel had the free license, you know, and that it came off. And when we build against UAE, it's like I had to build to certain people. You know what I mean? It was basically put down to that. Certain guys came to the top guys, I had to build to them. So my job was to get these guys out or contain them. So then when they look up, it's schoolboy pressure. And you know, that's how we, you know, got to that UAE game.
Okay, so we get through and we get to that last game. Talk to us about some of the things that went through you guys' heads preparing for that last game, knowing that if you won, you qualify for the World Cup for the first time, a Bermuda team for the first time. Talk to us about how you guys are feeling going into that last game.
It was destined, if you want to put it that way. Like I don't want to sound weird. Like we guys probably are sitting there, people's probably outside watching us and saying these guys were brainwashed or something like that there. But in all honesty, before that game, Gus Leggy came in there and said he had a dream. He woke up at what time was it, Sluggy?
3:11.
3:11. He woke up at 3:11 in the night. This is before the game. And we betted, and what did we get?
3:11,
man.
3:11.
Oh, wow. Okay.
We got 3:11. So
3:11 for 6.
He had the confidence going in. Like he gave us the story what happened before the game, and we ended up getting exactly what he woke up on and things like that. It was destined. It was spooky. It was spooky in a sense, but and you just felt it. You just felt in the change room that day that nobody was going to beat us on that day. Nobody was going to beat us.
Yeah.
So let's take us through the game.
Yeah, we got together that night. I will never forget that. We guys got together that night, and I want to let you guys know we guys were like almost in tears because we knew we were going to do it. We guys were like, hey, what got this here? Like it was emotional the night before. So like guys, when we showed up at that field warming up, I'll tell you, nobody could have beat us that day.
And then her son and Postlewhite and these guys made the way. They found the way out to Ireland somewhere.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
Fans showed up. But I mean, and we got off to a good start. Guys, we batted well. And then like January just was in a whole different level. Like, Nero, everybody chipped in here and there. But when it came down to it, it's like you could see like he was in a zone. And Sluggy and Marvin's been there. When you're betting, you're in a zone, you're not even thinking about it. Everything just came out. Like we were calling these shots before the ball was even bowled. He's gonna take him here. He's gonna take him there. Like, so him and Dean just like they betted amazingly. Like once we got the 300, we just knew that we just needed 2 big wickets. You know what I mean? And Lambert was there. Messiah was there. We just needed 2 big wickets, and that was the game. And once they went cheap, it was just buying time. Like the last 10 overs, I would say, we knew we were probably good, and it was emotional for everybody because we knew already, look, we're in the World Cup, and we just try to hold it together, man. That's a feeling you'll never. That changing room after that game, not in the changing room. Once that game was over, you don't get it back, man. Your whole body, everything just leaves your body. You've done your whole life as a cricketer to try to achieve the greatest thing ever is World Cup. And, the group of guys that you're with, you'll never, still to today, you're pinching yourself. It's amazing, man.
Yeah, Earl, I could imagine the emotion before Slugger gets the emotion. Because I'm almost getting tears listening to it now. You know what I mean? I could imagine, because I'm an emotional person and passionate person. I could imagine the emotions that you guys went through after you knew that you qualified for the World Cup for the first time. Slugger?
Yeah, in that game there, we got to the grounds. Good warm up, and guys were positive. We end up winning the toss. It was overcast that day too, and that was a thing. I said, "Oh man, United States had this guy Khan. He was quick. I mean, he was flying. OJ and that one hung in there for a bit. We lost a wicket. Irvin came to the wicket. Irvin got himself in a little bit, then started punishing the bird, and he picked up
I got like 45, I think.
45, and then he was with Nehru, and then once Nehru and Dean, they love to back together. There's two. They run singles. They know each other because of from the previous times they played. And Dean hit a guy off his nerves over somebody's house for 6, and we say, how you do that? What I mean? It was just fake because we said this boy's hit, and somehow it went for 6. And then I say, yeah, these two are in. Nehru start hitting that thing of extra cover. The faster the guy ran in, the farther Nehru was hitting it. And nobody left their seat. It was everybody, whatever seat you were sitting in, you sat in that seat. You did not move. So and when we went to field out, I mean the vibe was there, positive vibes, and we knew that we had to get Messiah. He was the one on our side, and Clayton Lambert. So as we were there, we kept it tight, kept it sharp. We saw making inroads. I came to Lambert. They built this little thing outside. Some getting away from me. He's looking for the comebacks. Snicked it off to Dean Marnus and said, "Yeah, we're on our way." Messiah came in. We made sure we cut his scoring stuff off, and from then on, we knew. When we got down to about 8-9 out, the last week of Ryan Steve ran in. This guy tried to drive it over extra cover. Albert Steve was in the covers. He jumped up high in the air, one-handed catch in the air, and pulled that thing down. That was it. Everybody broke down on the ground. Grown man crying.
Grown man crying.
Yep.
And then it started raining, and men would not move off that field. You would hugging each other, and the experience is like it's out of body. It's an out of body experience. It's that it's hard to explain it because you went through it, but you felt numb. You felt numb to know that. Look, I walk into the World Cup. Is this really real? And then, as the days went by, he said, like, shucks, we're on our way to the World Cup. And we was together. Yeah. And after the match, fellas, you know what we're going swinging doors.
Swinging doors.
Place called Robinson's got 2 swinging doors like barn doors. We was down there. We had a good time, but that was a other body experience to qualify in the fashion that we did that day. You know what I mean? We always trusted each other. We was always happy for the successes of our teammates, and that's what really got us through.
Yeah. We're going to take another commercial break. When we come back, we'll have more of a walk down memory lane. We'll be right back.
Amy's Kitchen is an independent organic food company, a family business who've been producing wholesome and flavorful foods over 30 years. From their first pot pie right up to 1 million meals a day, and firmly believe in the importance of TLC throughout the entire process. This month we're featuring a range of Amy's organic beans, refried and baked, chilies, medium spicy and beyond, and a multitude of organic soups, minestrone, chunky tomato bisque, cream of mushroom, hearty Thai coconut, and much more. Lindo's, why go anyplace else?
My inspiration to write this book has to do with empowering. I want people to understand what it looks like when you are in a position when you don't have the tools around you. If you know me or don't know me, the game, the beautiful game of football, soccer, is and always was a way out. I'm still fearful on what to do, what would happen if I say something.
What can we do in this book to incorporate tools to help specifically our group of young people in Bermuda?
Could you imagine doing a read with little people and breaking everything down for them and having them to have a voice and having conversation pieces, if it's chapter by chapter?
Welcome back. When you guys arrived back in Bermuda, were you expecting what you came out of the airport to?
Well, no, not at all.
Not at all.
Not at all. I just remember him saying, "You guys stay on the plane a little bit. Stay on the plane." I was saying, "Huh? What you mean?" And then walking through those doors and seeing the amount of people. I mean, I'm still got all these pictures in my scrapbook from things like it was amazing. That was like that was touching. That was to feel appreciated like that was amazing. Like a really like heartfelt, like you families, just the whole island was there. That was amazing. I appreciated that. Like all of us did. Trust me.
Dennis?
Yeah, one of the things I felt really sorry for the team that went on this year, because to me, they had no preparation games. So how important was it for you guys to not just prepare for the World Cup physically and mentally, but how important was it for you guys to have preparation games before the World Cup? Because it's impossible to ask a team to go into a tournament like we did the previous tournament, the ICC tournament, without any match preparation. So how important in you guys' minds are the practice games before a tournament?
Yeah, I think practice games are paramount, right? I know, like in 2004 when we got together, not to go back, but when we got together, the cricket board had no funding, no money. We guys weren't getting paid for nothing, anything, but we came together because we had the common goal. So we said, we're going to do this no matter what. The big payday is going to come, guys, when we qualify, because that's when ICC is going to give, funding. You qualify for World Cup, you get millions of dollars, right? So that was our goal, that we'll do it for free. And then we'll know we'll be able to get some exposure and some, games going on. So after 2005, when we qualified, we were probably the most traveled team ever in Bermuda. We traveled the whole world from 2005 to 2007. So our preparation, it went from us qualifying to becoming professional cricketers, right? So we trained every day. We played practice games every day. We played tournaments every single day. Not a day went by where we didn't, right? So that's paramount. You could try to have net sessions all you want every day. That is nothing like match practice. I feel sorry for what's going on with the COVID and stuff. No, I mean, our standards are right now in Bermuda are very low, because even our league games, right, we're not playing at a high standard. So it's necessary. We have to be playing at a higher standard and more games. If not, the guys are not going to get any better. So that's paramount. You have to have it. If not, the rest of the teams around the world, they're still traveling and playing. Bermuda for the last 2 years has been stagnant, and they're at a disadvantage while the rest of the world still playing cricket.
Yeah, and because of where we were ranked, we were allowed to be in the World Cricket League. If you guys remember that, once after 2005, we was in the World Cricket League. So not only were we playing 50 overs, we had to play 4 days. You know what I mean? Because of our ranking. I think at that time, what were we ranked? 16th or something in the world, something like that. I think we was ranked like 16th. Now the teams leaving out of Bermuda now, I think we're 30th. You know what I mean? So you don't get the funding. You're not in those 3-day tournaments, 4-day tournaments, 50 over tournaments. You don't get invited to this. At that time, because we were ranked as 16th in the world, we was going to all those tournaments in South Africa, tournaments in Kenya, you know what I mean? Tournaments in Dubai. So we are obligated to play these games. And unfortunately, because Bermuda wasn't ready for what we accomplished, we couldn't play any home games because our wickets weren't good enough to play home games in Bermuda. So all our games were away from home. And, it was said that a lot of the Bermudians didn't really get to see us play some of those great teams. They missed out on watching some good cricket back then because we suffered because we didn't have a home wicket to play on. So our home games were actually away games. So, we played a lot of cricket. And the country had to make sacrifices and take us out of work. And they did. They took us out of work for a while to play these tournaments to prepare. So it was a lot of cricket to be played.
Talk about.
So that was, because those 2 years we actually had ODI status. Once we had qualified, you became your ODI status. So you had to play triangular series. If you was in Kenya, we had to play Kenya in a triangular series ODIs plus the Intercontinental. That's the 4-day game. So it's usually like if you're in Kenya, you're there for like 5 weeks because you got to play the 4-day, then you got to play the ODI series. And then when you go to South Africa, when we was in South Africa, Holland was there. So we end up playing Holland as well as Kenya came over. Then we end up having to play a whole series with the 3 teams, and
there was Zimbabwe and Canada. And us.
Yep. Yeah, we had a lot of Namibia. And, a lot of the times we were traveling, we would have to play series because we were at that 16th and we had the ODI status and Intercontinental status. And it was important that, we had to take care of ourselves as groups, like you said, because we wasn't him. We was hardly ever him. You had 2 bigs. You had a big for summer. You had a big for cold countries. If you was going to England, you had some long sleeve. When we was in England doing our thing, and when you went to the hot countries, you had a big for the hot countries. So when you come in here, you're sleeping in your other 2 suitcases. That's how we was for those 2 years, 2+ years. But we also never forgot each other. And I think that was the key to getting us through all these tournaments. And even just when we got back here, we always still looked out for each other and to make sure that, hey, we got another trip, let's go. We got to keep going. You know what I mean? I mean, as much as we wanted to take a break, but because we was on the ODI status and Intercontinental, we had to really push on. And it was a hard experience, but sometimes you couldn't see your family. You wasn't seeing your family for weeks and months because of the processes that we had to do to, maintain that at that level. So that's how you find that now professional cricketers, sometimes they don't see their family for 3 and 4 months, 6 months at a time because they're traveling to different countries, And now being COVID and things like that, it's kind of hard because it's ideal to have the practice games, and it's nothing like playing matches. Playing matches, it gets you grooving, and then when you go to these tournaments, you're in fine nick. And the bad thing for us is that we don't have these matches against other teams. Whereas that these other teams, like Lionel said and Irvin said, that these guys are traveling around. United States, prior to this tournament, was in Nepal playing in a 50 of us. So most of the guys that were playing in that came and played in the T20 series. So it is key that you do get a lot of practice games.
And Sluggy just hit on something that needs to be talked about. Also, is the sacrifice. During there's periods when you're a long ways away. Like people don't realize the sacrifices that your families make. The wives, the girlfriends. You don't see your children. It's not everybody might think you're out playing cricket and you're traveling the world and that's the greatest thing ever. But it's not always. Sometimes it's doom and gloom, and sometimes you're lonely. Sometimes you got a little bit lonely when you're on tour, and your family's lonely. You don't see your children and stuff, so they make major sacrifices also. So we have to give a lot of respect to the families that committed their time and sacrificed their time while we were out living our dreams. Same time.
Before Earl asks his question, because I always wondered about that. Even today, like Test cricketers not away from there for months on end. People were talking about how England got demolished in Australia, but these guys have been away for months on end. So how important is like mental toughness? Like you have to be mentally tough to you're missing your children, you're missing your wife, you're missing your girlfriend, you're missing your own personal environment. But how important is it and that's where the team sticks together. How important is mental toughness playing at that level?
Extremely. You have to put your brain in different areas. Like you have to know when to tune in and when to tune out, because it'll become very stressful, especially playing cricket. Cricket's a game that we're getting to the field 8:00, leaving there 7:00 in the evening. It ain't like a football. You get there 2 hours before the game, 90 minutes, you're out of there. Cricket is so stressful. Just think about the 4 days. The 4 days alone, when you're waking up and you're fielding for a whole day and a half, and you're saying like, "Whoa, I'm gonna get up and now I'm gonna go to bed." And I'm been fielding for a day and a half. I remember one game in UAE, it was like 115 degrees. And we was just in the field, was sweating. I remember coming up the field and I lost like 10 pounds of water weight from fielding out at 115 degrees. And then you're saying, you know what? I'm going to go there and field out again tomorrow. But then you come home and like Lionel said, it's the sacrifice that you make. And half the time, because we're on the opposite side of the world, we're getting in, people's either at work, we're getting to sleep, they're waking up. So it ain't even like you can sit there and conversate with your children or your family or anything like that, because whole different time zone. It's a whole different time zone. And it becomes stressful, especially when you're not having a good tour. Like times when I wasn't making runs and you don't want to come in and you're looking at your roommate and you just want to say, "Roommate, I can't talk right now." Like, I need more than you right there, Slugger. Like, I need more than you. But you have to dig in. And Slugger was my roommate for all the times until I was captain and I got my own room. But we had some deep conversations, man. Deep conversations. Like, Slugger had to be family and everything to me sometimes. Like, when you're going through that little slump and all that, you're saying, "But I just want to get on that plane and get back to Bermuda as fast as I can." What? He'll sit there and say, "Come on, Remy, get tough, Remy." Like, but you have to find a bond with somebody. And you hear some of the professional players talk about it, like, "I'm close with this guy," because you have to have somebody that you vent to on these tours. Like, you become more than just a teammate, like your brother on tour, man. It's really serious.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed. I mean, like Irvin said, I mean, many nights that we'll sit there and we'll talk to what blue in the face, you know what I mean? Where's that? Look, we gotta find this, this second girt to get through. You know what I mean? It's hard. Sometimes you come up the field, you're like, "Oh man, let's see, you got 3 days left." You know what I mean? And then it's something that you really have to trust in the person that you're talking with. You know what I mean? They got to be able to be there for you, and you got to be there for them. Because if it's only one-way traffic, the other person's not going to really survive. You know what I mean? And then we was talking about stuff, man. And look, got to call the family first before we start talking. You call his people, I call my people, and then we get down, sit down, and talk. Because sometimes I to the point where it's like, look, why am I doing this? You know, it got to a point that, and I had to really sit back and say, hold on a minute, hold on. I put myself in this position. I'm going to get through this. And, you know, and we talk with the rest of the teammates. We made sure we hung around each other, cracked jokes. You know, me and guys, we did things together as a unit. We went to dinner, to, you know what I mean, go to the shop. You know what I mean? We stayed together. And that's the thing that really got us going as mental, because it was easy breaking point, because this is unknown to us, because this is just 2 years of traveling the world where we don't see our families. And these other guys, this is natural to them because they're on the professional level already. So, you know, they're used to all of this, you know, and what we're embracing this. But one thing I said, we always go back to that first meeting. We always said we're going to be together, we're going to stay together. And that's the thing that got us through mentally. When somebody was down, get up, pick him up. Let's pick him up. Let's encourage him. You know what I mean? Because we know everybody's not going to shine the same time. But the ones at the lowest, never leave them behind. And that was one of our hallmarks. We never left none of our players behind, especially if they were struggling, you know. And sometimes everyone was telling me, look, you got to build all day, you know. I said, what do you mean? He said, yup, nobody's building down there here. I was in Namibia at a 90-something degree heat, dry air. I built 50 of us down one end by myself, straight.
50? 5-0?
5-0 overs.
5-0.
Whoa.
Down straight.
Whoa.
I came up there, they had to help me up the hill.
And
the next day I had to go again.
Had to build again, yeah.
And the team made sure that he weren't coming off the ball.
Sure.
The team itself pushed him along. Look, you're not coming off the ball.
Whoa.
You know what I mean? And one good thing about us, like, we all stuck together. But what we'll do is we'll go to the mall one day all together. We'll go to the girls' souk if it's there. We went to orphanages, you know what I mean, to see the children.
Yeah.
So we'll pick things just to put in mind. We always done our humanitarian work when we were overseas. So we found time together, you know what I mean, that was abundant for us, just to see the other side of the world. Sometimes we used to leave orphanages and we used to look at each other and say, hey, guys, we are so blessed. You know what I mean? We are blessed.
Yeah.
Right. So that helped us to push on even more for our country.
Yeah, that's Kenya. I went to Kenya to an orphanage in Kenya. Me and managed one time. We took about a 2.5 hour drive out, and to see the children that they had to walk around to the area to pick up these children that were living on the streets. We went to the garden. We call it the garden area. We picked up food and stuff for them. The lady cooked it up, and we brought them in, and they were eating with their hands. I had a 1-year-old and a 6-year-old sitting in my lap, eating with their hands, taking up rice, and they're trying to feed me. I said, no, please do not feed me. And I had pure tears running down my face because it broke me. It really broke me.
But it was serious.
It humbled me to the experience that, listen, I'm got a chance to try to help the best I can while I'm here. I donated $60,000 of that money and told the lady, listen. She says, no. I said, no, this is for you. Make sure these children always eat. Go around there and eat. And she was so tickled. So every time I went there, I always made sure they had money so they can go and buy the supplies and stack them in the little cupboards and stuff. So they made sure they always went around to children that they had no families. They just lived on the street. And the one child that really, really broke me, that day they had a little baby, was about 2 months old. They found it in a trash can.
Whoa. And
they brought it to that place. And the lady said, who's this child? She says, we just found it in the trash can. And that made me, I was done. But I went back and said, guys, what we're doing and playing cricket is far less than what we're seeing here now. We can get up, let's stand up, and let's do what we got to do while we're here. And
life changing. Life changing. These children were eating out of that big pot. Like,
I
didn't know what it was, man. It looked like paper mache they was eating. Like, I didn't know what it was, but it was just like humbling and we're looking at it like, oh wow, look how these children are living. But these children are eating and still smiling and singing to us. And I'm saying,
Yeah.
They were just so happy. And I'm looking saying like happy, but it changed you right there. It made you realize like, wow, you guys are traveling the world. We got cricket bets worth about $800, and like these children are living off about 8 cents worth of food. And I'm looking saying like, my, and then that goes on to like other stories where we saw the guy get killed in front of a hotel and stuff like that. Like that was like
in Kenya, right in front of our eyes.
Yeah, really. Yeah.
that was a guy got shot dead. Like, and it's like people walked over him, they drew him in back of a little pickup ambulance, like a little open back, and kept on walking. Like guy, we was like in shell shock, like somebody just got murdered, somebody got shot, and they just walked along like, hey, I'm late for work. They helping me this guy on the street. It's so life changing, and that's more to the tours than the cricket. Like you see how these people are living, and it really makes you appreciate Bermuda. It really makes you appreciate Bermuda.
Mm-hmm. Well, we're going to take another commercial break. When we come back, we'll have a little more from with a walk down memory lane. We'll be right back.
John Barrett & Son, home of Bermuda's best beverages, is starting the new year with an exciting new beverage, Numa, the organic sport hydration drink. Founded by brothers Brandon and Jared, both pro hockey players, Numa stands for No More Artificials and is an organic plant-based sports drink with real ingredients like organic coconut water and Himalayan pink salt. Numa partnered with fitness groups in the USA early in their development and expertly responded to the call for purity and simplicity. Try all flavors of Numa organic sports drink this month. Lindo's, why go anyplace else?
My inspiration to write this book has to do with empowering. I want people to understand what it looks like when you are in a position when you don't have the tools around you. If you know me or don't know me, the game, the beautiful game of football, soccer, is and always was a way out. Still fearful on what to do, what would happen if I say something.
What can we do in this book to incorporate tools to help specifically our group of young people in Bermuda?
Could you imagine doing a read with little people and breaking everything down for them and having them to have a voice and having conversation pieces, if it's chapter by chapter?
I have a question, and Irvin, we'll start with you to answer, and then we'll go around. If you had a magic wand, what would you guys change with Bermuda current cricket structure to get the senior men's team, national team, consistently performing at a higher level?
If I had a magic wand?
Yeah. What would you change?
If I had a magic wand, I would wave it to somebody with a lot of money, a bank or a big sponsor. I think we need an investment, and I'll say this for as my opinion. I'm saying this as my opinion because I'm still around the cricket board and all that sort of stuff. A major investment is needed in cricket because cricket right now isn't the choice for children to play. It isn't. We even when we qualified and stuff like that, we were the last group that played child cricket. You guys remember child cricket and all that. We came through playing cricket. We used to have cricket games on Thursday evenings. We had the junior gunners. We had the first division cricket, who all of us as youngsters could play on the Saturday. Remember, we used to play Saturday cricket, and also you could play on the Sunday if you're good enough. And the guys that weren't having a good season were playing the first division cricket. Like, you know what I mean? We played a lot of cricket, and Shall alone was an event because it put, how can I put it? We guys played for our parish, and that brings a different sort of pride. All of us played for our club, yes, lovely. But when you're playing for your parish, it's a different feeling. It's like Connie Cup all over again because it's more than you just saying, for myself, I'm going to represent Bayless Bay right now. I'm representing Hamilton Parish. And it was supported. If you couldn't afford cricket gear, which a lot of children couldn't back then, and that's when cricket gear was cheap, Shall used to supply it. Shall used to bring a bag of gear and feed you. You know what I mean? And on a Saturday, you get guys that knew they couldn't even make the team, but not coming to get their sandwiches and sit on 50 boys in your parish. Like, and we have lost that in cricket in a sense. And who has taken that footprint in a sense is Beyond Rugby. And Beyond Rugby has a bunch of children now because you know what they do? They come around to the schools, they pick you up, they take you to training, and what they do? They feed them. They feed them. And for some reason, if you got a free teacher or food, Bermudians will be there. Like, you know what I mean? But realistically, we need funding in cricket, especially for the senior national team we are talking about. These guys, they put in a lot of effort. They put in a lot of effort, and the time has changed so much just from when we was the national team. Now guys can't afford to miss that day of work or skip that. Like, you know what I mean? Living is a lot harder now. It costs money. And without the funding for these guys to say, you know what, we will take you off 3-4 weeks from work, go to a pre-tour, you know what I mean, to get ready for the main tour. If you don't have that, they will never survive on that level. And we have some talented cricketers right now. We have a lot of talented cricketers that went on that last tour.
Mm-hmm.
If they would have got their pre-tour done and really been ready for it, and also how they put us in that situation was set up for Canada and USA to go through. You saw it. Bermuda came, they had 1 day there, and next thing you know, they got the game against USA and they in Canada. Like they didn't want Bermuda to have any form going into that. Because as much as you want to talk about it, cricket is politics. And you know, it's set up right now that Bermuda isn't supposed to make, and I may be touching toes on some people that's listening, but the ICC has set it up now so Bermuda will not make the World Cup, and small countries will not make the World Cup because we don't bring anything to World Cup. You know what I mean? We are not going to bring the amount of people that India bring. You know what I mean? If our whole island showed up to a stadium that's played in World Cup, we wouldn't even fill it. So the money situation is not there. It's not designed for Bermuda to go to World Cup financially. And they make sure that they try and hurl us back. But with the talent that we have, we still can make it. We can. If we work hard and cricket gets an investment in it, we can go further. We don't have the investment like we are supposed to have. And the way it's done now with our ranking, we have to go up several tiers to get real money. If we're not in Division 1, we're getting money, but we're not getting the money that's needed because nowadays tours are costing you $60,000 and all that sort of stuff just to go on tour. So if you go on these pre-tours, then you got to pay guys salaries when they're on tour and all that there. It adds up and it's hard. It's really hard. Until we get that major investment, we will struggle to go to that next level. Like, we should be training up National Stadium in and out. A wicket should be ready at National Stadium for these guys to train on the national stadium. Like, they shouldn't have to come down to Bayless Bay. You know what I'm saying? They shouldn't have been doing work before the tournament at Bayless Bay Cricket Club. Your national team should be at National Stadium. Unfair that it's a fee that comes with it and all that sort of stuff, or that politics don't want to get into. But if you're not even training on the best field in the island, how can you even feel important as a national sport player? You know what I mean? What are you really getting out of being a national sport player besides what? A tracksuit? Let's really call a spade a spade. If what are you getting now as a national sport player? We got to travel, we didn't work, we got all that. Hey, we felt like a pro. What are these guys getting after us now that the funding has gone? A tracksuit. Let's be real. That's about all you can say you're getting as a national sport player. So how do you expect these guys to elevate and go to that next level when they're working? They're not guaranteed for the wage we covered. At this stage, like, we have to invest. We really have to invest. And for football, it works out because most of the football team is overseas, not living that professional life. You know what I mean? Cricket isn't at that stage yet. So we need to try and make our players that we have heard now feel that important that they're giving the heart and soul for Bermuda cricket. And that's a big thing that we have to find a way to make these players feel important. The only thing they're really feeling important about is they would choose cup match over the national sport right now because cup match, at least you feel like, yeah, I'm a hero for 2 days. Like, you know what I mean? that hero status as a national squad player has disintegrated to an all-time low. We need to have that pride on having that Bermuda badge right here, the same way how we guys felt. And until we get that, we're going to struggle. We're going to really struggle.
Sluggy?
Yeah, I did the same points that Irvin made is that, you definitely do need an investment. And also to piggyback on we have youngsters that are coming through overseas, but I think we need them to get agents. We need like our best players to get agents, agency that can look out for these players and be able to get them to play in some of these franchise T20s because they're out there. And I think if we get more exposure with our top players playing in these franchise leagues, like in United States, they have the US Open. We had two of our players that went to that. If we could get some form of agency that can look out for our top players, we can then, we know the money's not there, but we still get these guys playing at that level. So then when we do get to play in these tournaments, these guys are at that level. So then they're able to progress and continue, to move forward and move us up the ranking. But, the money, that's the major thing, but we still need to look to get an agent. Dowry's got an agent. Kamal just got an agent. These guys are going to be looked after. If we can get some form of agency that can look after the top players that we have, to say, listen, we got a tournament in this place, a T20. We put your name in for the draw for you to be picked for a franchise, and you guys have been selected. So then we can get more. If we get 5 guys playing overseas, that's good. We can get them. We can get 6 guys the next time. Those are the things that we have to look for again, moving forward. We don't have any money, but we have to try to look for things that we can try to make it happen at this time, because we can't just lay back and say, we're going to wait for money. That, it may never happen, but we have to try to do things and think about things to try to progress what little we have at this present time, and hopefully that a big cash, if injection comes to us. We have to try to think outside the box at some point. We could pray for the money, but the cricket still has to go on, and that's something that I think that if we could get an agent, that'd be my magic wand to take care of the senior players.
Lionel?
Yeah, 2 valid points. I won't touch on them because they're both valid points. Mine will be different points. My points will be that we need to teach our young people what pride is. We've lost our way. We've lost probably at least 50 to 60 cricketers in this generation because they're caught up doing other things instead of wanting to play cricket, right? They're caught up in all this, whatever's going on in our society. We all see what's going on in our society. It's not enough cricket played in schools. They don't even play senior cricket in schools for the last 5 years, right? And I'm talking 14 age group to 16. It's not even senior cricket. We need to get cricket back into the schools, teach them some values, play by heart, play with heart. We're not going to get the money. Let's be real. We're not going to get enough money to say, hey guys, you're going to take off from work and you're going to be full-time cricketers. So we have to look for other avenues. Another avenue, I've been saying it for a long time. Have you ever been to an evening cricket league or commercial cricket? You got Indians here. You got South Africans here. You got these guys that are better than the cricketers in our national team. I see them in and out. Why aren't we reaching out to these? You got people in work permits. Around the ICC made it that you have to reside in a country working for 2 years and then you can play for that country. Why don't we utilize that? We're probably the only country don't utilize that. Canada, India, USA, those guys are not even from that country, but they have like 30 to 50 cricketers qualifying every week through residency, right? And that's why we're coming up against. Our pool is so small that if we take 3 players out of our team, we can't compete. Why is that? It's more avenues out there. We have to tap into the resources that we have, and we have resources here. I hate to say it, we have guys who wash pots that are better than our cricketers, Indians, that have played close to first-class cricket, under 19 Indian teams and stuff like that. Why aren't we welcoming these people into it? Why does it have to always be that we're stopping this child or that child from playing. This is international cricket we're talking about. We have to decide, do we want to be international cricket and qualify for World Cups, or do we just want to stay at a level and hope that our children make it through? Are we serious? Because I'm seeing it for years. We are not serious because we are not tapping into the resources that we have right on this little island. We need to open it up, scout these guys, and you could go down Bernard's Park on a Sunday morning and find better cricketers than we have here. Half that we got here. I'm just being straight up and honest. We have to find a way to welcome these people in. We're not going to get the funding where these guys are going to be working full time, right? We have to develop cricket in schools, develop some pride that you play from the heart. Like Irvin said, you couldn't even put your jersey on the floor when we played. If you take your jersey off and you throw your jersey down, you were getting beat up by an changing room. That's how we were. We were. You guys remember that bitch? Huh? Somebody talk about throw the jersey down on the field. Are you crazy? We have to develop some youngsters with pride and tap into the resources that we have. If we're serious about, like all the other countries are tapping into all their resources. If we're serious about getting to the next level.
And thinking of their resources, I could say us coming through, we were lucky to get the end of police. I know you guys remember police. Yeah. Police used to bring in the policemen that used to come, and they recruited them as sportsmen, I swear, because that added so much into our league. The faster bowlers, some of the batsmen, like these guys went on to be great cup match things and play for Bermuda. Like, you know what I mean? And so if we really think about it, back in the day when these guys were so close to qualifying with the ICC and all that, they had 4 or 5 foreigners in those teams back then. You know what I mean? And we phased away from that. In a sense, I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but we phased away from it. But if you look at this old guy, you're looking at Lionel Thomas and all these guys, like these guys were high quality cricketers, and they wasn't traditionally born in Bermuda. But once police came out of that league, that took a lot of sting out of our league. It took a lot of sting. Because it even got to this game sometimes just saying like I'm playing for Bermuda right now. It's like an international match playing against police. Besides Slugger would be on the other end up there sometimes. But it brought that pride. And I remember coming through, like you used to have that like West Indian versus Bermuda game and stuff like that. Like that sort of stuff. If you brought that back in, because you got the Jamaican Association, you got all these associations that even if we entered that into the cricket season will bring some sort of pride back and national pride in this. Like because just look at the football, when Barbados came play, you had all the Bajans on the side, all the Bermudians, and it was good sports. And we need that back in cricket. We need that back in cricket. Like Lionel said, tapping into schools. Obviously, I'm a PE teacher, and Lionel's involved in the schools. The problem with that is that most of the principals now, cricket season is during exam time, and they don't allow, like I can speak for Berkeley, after like April, they don't allow the children off for sports, field trips, and all that sort of stuff. So they concentrate on the exams, but not everybody's going to be that scientist. Like, you know what I mean? Now Bermuda needs to really sit down and say sport is a job. You know what I mean? Sport is a way out. Like sports isn't recreation no more. Like, you're looking at the people now. Like this is life. You're being born and you're a sportsman. Some guys will be lawyers. Some guys will be businessmen. People now are born that are gonna be sportsmen. And just so happens Bermuda hasn't taken that step. Everywhere else in the world now, they're taking that step and realizing that sports is it. Like, sports is it. Yeah. During this whole pandemic, just look at England. England is sports crazy. If England went on lockdown again and stopped football, oh my gosh. For real. Like the EPL is a male soap opera. Like, you know what I mean? Like, everybody is hooked on sports, and it mentally and everything. Sports is really transformed so much. It's billions into sports. It's billions. Everything's turned over by sports right now. And Bermuda needs to hop on that bandwagon. We have a lot of money running around there through exempt companies and all that, this sort of stuff. even if we don't push our normal league, why we can't push for being AXA or whatever, you know what I mean? And have a semi-pro something 2020 league. That like things like that, we have to think outside the box to really grow cricket again, because 2020 is the way right now. Now it's going to 10-10. Everybody knows it's going to 10-10. In the Olympics, it'll be 10-10. So you're looking at a 20 over in total game. We can invest in that. And once children see that, they will come back to cricket. We brought a surge to cricket once we qualified for World Cup. Bermuda been cricket crazy. All the children started playing cricket again because there's something to look up to. Now you're looking at football because Nakeem Wells and those guys going in the English the leagues. Now they look up to that and say, you know what, I want to be a footballer. Right now we got Januray and Kamo that are really out there in England doing their thing. We need more of that. We need to be able to look at these guys and say, you know what, put Januray and Kamo up on a pedestal. Because the children need to reach something. They want to be something. At that time, they wanted to be us. Like, you know, Luggy used to put us out there, do bank events and do all these events. So we was visual. So the children would say, you know what? I want to be a cricketer. Right now, we're not got cricket being put in that light. You know what I mean? We're sitting back and waiting. I think we need to come back out and it's hard to say, like, make cricket sexy again. You know what I mean? Children need to be sitting there and say, you know what? I want to play cricket. But right now, they'd rather go play football in the 90-degree heat than play cricket. But we have the opportunity to bring it back, and we really have to push it. We have to cup match should be bigger than what it is in the game sense. Now, cup match is huge for, you know what I'm saying, for the tourists and the spectators, all that sort of stuff, business-like. But the game sense needs to be put on a higher level. You know what I mean? That it's millions being made at cup match. Millions.
And it goes both ways too. It can't be just be that way. It's a responsibility on the cricketers to make sure that they play in the right manner, and you're setting the right example too. You can't have a big game and guys are acting up, and then the children looking like that ain't gonna be my role model, or a parent don't want to send their children there. Our clubs need to set better examples. Also, our clubs nowadays, I think, have slipped a bit. Club used to be a place where you go to learn things, learn different trades, respect. The way it is now, our clubs need to tighten up also. So our parents don't trust clubs now. Our parents ain't going to send their young children to clubs right now. So, you know, it's going to take everybody to bring the sport back. It's not just one facet.
We have to be collective in our things due to the fact is that, you know, working in the police. I mean, we have to understand that we have a cultural problem at this time. You know, I mean, our culture is much different from before. Until we be able to separate the cultures that's happening now, until we're able to move away from that and get the children away from this type of cultures, then we're gonna be able to get more children into sports. You know, and that's a serious thing, because our culture is really starting to get bad. It's starting to get bad. And it's no two ways about it, you know what I mean? And for us, like you said, we need those people that's going to be at the forefront. Like, if we want cricket, you got to put Del Rey, and you got to put all the youngsters that are in England, put them out there. You know what I mean? When they come back, put them into the little camps. Say, listen, we got these youngsters that are playing, and to let them know that, look, cricket's fun. Cricket's something that you could make a job out of. You know what I mean? Look at, you know, put things together. Then, I mean, cricket's global. You could get the T10 leagues, you can get the T20 leagues. For me to know, we have to identify that 50 overs is not it. We have to go from T20 or T10, and I think we'll be better successful at it. Because the way we play cricket, we play like T20, even in the 50 over. You know what I mean? Our strengths are we could play T20 better than we could play 50 overs. Because of the type of players that are looking now, because they look at what they see now on TV, and that's all they practice. They try to play T20 shots in 50 overs. So we have to now deal with a different mindset now, and to say, okay, what's going to get us going forward? T20, T10, that's something that we can use as an avenue going forward. The longer version is not gonna cut it, but we now have to dig deep now, like to go into the schools. We're gonna have to go into schools, and we're gonna have to try to beat that drum to the schools that hey, cricket's one of our national sports, and we gotta keep fighting for it. You know what I mean? And they can't give up. You know what I mean? Cricket's our national sport.
So how important is, because I have read a little bit about the 5-year plan of the BCB. How important is grassroots cricket? How important is open cricket? Because to me, open cricket teaches you the basic fundamentals of the sport. T20, yeah, fine. T10, fine. You're looking like a baseball player, whatever. But to me, the basic fundamentals have to be taught to our young cricketers, because you see it. You see it in cup match. Guys getting cup match and look at the outs, even last year cup match. You know what I mean? Guys getting themselves out. You're well set, and then you make a silly rash stroke and you get yourself out. And to me, I'm always a proponent of basic fundamentals. Eat football, same way. Although you may, my organization may teach futsal, but we also teach basic fundamentals, which is very important. Players need to know how to hold their hand up. One guy hold his hand up while the other guy is making runs. We don't seem to do that. You know what I mean? So to me, how do you guys feel about open cricket? Do you think it has a future in Bermuda? How do you feel about that before we go off there?
Should it have a future?
You want this? Oh, me.
No, yeah.
For me personally, I love Test cricket.
Yep.
I sit up all night watching Test cricket. I love Test cricket. 2020 is good. You know what I mean? It's good on the eyes. It's good on the show. But to your point, you have to play the longer version of the game when you're younger to learn the basics. I think what guys are trying to say is we have to move our leagues to the 2020 is bigger, more qualifying. So as you get 15, 16, then you're developing into a 2020 player. You know, but through the youth, you have to play the longer version of the game. That's automatic. And when you get 15, I remember when I was coaching up Warwick, the 2020 league started. And I didn't even let my youngsters, they were only 15, 14, 15-year-olds. I didn't even join the league. I said, these guys still learning how to play a straight drive, and you want them to play 2020. I didn't even enter the league for the first 3 years I was there. Till they got old enough, developed enough, and then move on to 2020. But the longer version of the game in Bermuda, we're never going to play open cricket again, right? It's good for the youngsters to play it, but at the senior level, you don't, because what happens is the global tournaments now are 50 overs in 2020. That's what you have to qualify for now for the World Cup and stuff. So it wouldn't make sense the older guys playing the longer version of the game, right? But the younger ones going up to 16, 17 definitely should be, open cricket and developing those skills.
Yeah, totally agree about that. And that's the hallmark of even with us. That's how we learned our cricket. You know, playing the open cricket, and it help you with mental, especially on the pitch and even off the pitch, because it made you make decisions in key and critical times. You had to make decisions, and you know, the same decision you make on that pitch, you got to see make the same type of decision when you're off the pitch. So, there's for, like you're saying, for the youngsters, I think coming forward, I think that's a base that we can use as, the open cricket, like Lionel has stated. But even with the senior players, I mean, they have to show more responsibility, because these youngsters are going to be looking up to you as a player. So if they're watching you in cup matches, and you're just doing really nearly, they're going to say, oh, I could do that. So it's not really giving them any type of watching somebody bat long. Say, oh, that guy bat long. I could do that. You know what I mean? Then you pick up brains, walk up to him, say, how you bat so long? And that's the thing where you integrate with the youngsters. The youngsters are there and say, hey, I talked to Lionel Can about and Irvin about batting. I'm a batsman, but and they told me what I have to do to get myself to that level. So those are the things that we have to, is still passing down to the youngsters. I don't think that us seniors have passed on enough to the youngsters. I think what definitely key to helping this going forward. I think once we got to a certain point, guys just been slowly, some guys hung around trying to help out coaching, but I think we need to come back and in that type of thing where people's going to look up to us. They're going to trust us, especially bringing the children going forward. They want to see a male figure that's going to be able to, hey, I could trust this person. He could help teach my youngster going forward. He could help him with discipline. Then when it's at school or it's at home, he could show the same discipline that he's going to show on the field and off the field.
Well, I'll go a different route for that. There's guys who were spot on. I'm going to go a route from talking what Dennis put there about the foundation and the basics. If you look at what we all went through, I'm going to go through the importance of cricket in the schools. When we came through, we had a male gym teacher, a female gym teacher. You know what I mean? And sometimes the teacher that took the males, if you guys knew, was usually P7 teacher that either taught art or some other classroom. But they knew at that time when Bermuda was taking sports serious, that what did we do when we did gym? We did football, cricket, track and field, girls did netball, chucky, and maybe a little softball. And that's all we done. Mm-hmm. Nowadays, it's a whole different thing. The schools now, some only have one gym teacher, and a lot of the times it's a female. So they don't put the emphasis on cricket. You know what I mean? It isn't put there. When we came through in high school, we used to take the BSSC. We had to take a written test on cricket or football. You guys know you did that, yeah? Now it's nothing to do with that. You don't even learn the basics of that. And I'm going to touch a little further with the importance of schools, and why I say this, me being an educator, is because the BSSF, which runs school sports, Bermuda School Sports Federation, is the biggest federation for the children. Every child falls under that because every child has to be in school. If we expose every child during school to cricket, you will find more cricketers. Right now, we don't expose every child. We wait till them get to the clubs or cricket clinic. If we put the emphasis of our national sport back in school where it's really taught, the basics, like what Dennis wants to see, because that's what we got taught, forward defense and all that in PE, and then we got tested on it, every child will be exposed. Then you take from that, because I put an idea to the cricket board about this before, and Adam Douglas spoke on it as he took over from High Performance. If we concentrate on school sports, because every other country concentrates on school sports. If you look on Temple or whatever, you see high school football. You know what I mean? You see high school cricket. Every other country concentrates on high school track and field. We don't. We go straight to the clubs very early. We should be pushing school sports because every child's exposed. They say that all the time because not every parent, like Lionel said, that child's gonna say, you know what? I'm gonna take you from her and put you around the environment that's at Bayless Bay. They're not gonna do that anymore. So if you push Elliott Primary School, St. David's, and all that sort of stuff to a level, then the club comes in and says, you're the elite. Now I can take you to the club and I'll make your club stronger and I'll make the national sport all around stronger. Friday nights or Friday afternoons should be Barkley playing Soltis or Cedar Bridge or something. You know what I mean? Football or cricket. We don't push that. We wait to go straight to the clubs. And like Lionel said, the clubs aren't stepping up as much as they should be. But with school and funding through these schools, I think that will make such a big difference, not only in cricket, but sports in general. Because we will find there's jams. We will find the children that are at Work Academy that are heard with the South African parents that will want to play cricket. Like, you know what I mean? That's been brought up through a higher level of cricket. We have to concentrate on school sports. If we don't do that, it's going to be hard. It's going to be very hard.
Of course.
That's my pet peeve.
Of course.
Well, Dennis, we're taking them long past an hour. But they've taken us because they've been talking.
I don't mind. These guys were good.
You have any final question for them?
The last question I have is, because I had about 20 questions done. I only got to about 4, but that's fine. I know Earl will have you guys back at some point.
Yes.
The last question, the big debate. National team, cup match, Connie Cup. What's more important? What should be the most important? What's the most important to you guys?
What's that, a trick question, Dennis?
No,
You guys are grand man with internationals, man. Give us something
no,
harder than that.
no. But
Give us a harder question.
I'm talking to. I want you guys to talk to the current player who will choose Connie Cup or a cup match over representing their country.
It's a
And
no-brainer.
and to me, who's represented this country from 13 years old to when I retired at 28, is nothing bigger. You could say staying here, play the FA Cup is bigger. Is nothing bigger than represent your country against the best players in your region. So give me you guys perception of Bermuda Cup match, Connie Cup. What's the biggest, and what should our current players be striving for?
Bermuda. Bermuda hands down, and I've always chosen Bermuda from young old. So if you look back and you remember back in the day, they used to put your old style look right up for football and all that. Under my thing was what I wanted to be was always represent Bermuda. Playing for your country is the biggest thing that you could do. The biggest thing that you could do. Obviously, cup match and Connie and know that falls behind that as a big local game, but it's nothing more important than representing your country. And I just playing for your neighborhood or your friends. You're playing for a whole country that is behind you. It's nothing better than that.
Slugger or Tit?
Oh yeah, Bermuda, 5-4. I'll tell you a little something where it's that cup match was on during the same time as one of the qualifiers in Ireland for T20, where we almost qualified. Just one foot could have got us into that. George hit this thing, and this guy, one of the tallest guy, Boyd Rankin, was on the boundary, and he just jumped up and caught this thing. We could have qualified for a T20 World Cup, the next phase. But Bermuda is the first, hands down, was always first for me, because I always said that I want to represent my country and give the best to my country and put my country on my back. You know what I mean? When I went out there to play, I wasn't playing for just me. I was playing for my family. I was playing for every little kid, Bermuda. And I said, I'm playing for Bermuda. This badge, me said, I got to carry this country. I carry 65 plus thousand people every time I went onto that field. And cup match, I mean, I enjoyed it, but it's nothing compared to playing for the country. You know what I mean? The hard work that I put in to get to where I am is because I wanted to represent my country. I came up under you, Dennis, watching you, playing against you, but then using yourself, Lorenzo Simons, you know what I mean? Or you guys playing at that level, watching you guys try to qualify for World Cups and stuff. And I'm saying to myself, that's what's representing the country. You had pride when you was watching the senior players playing, even the cricket, watching them. And I said, that's going to be me. And I just always felt that that's the road I'm going to take. And if I ever got my team, that's what I was going to do, represent Bermuda. Cup match was a bonus. Easter County was a bonus, but nothing pinnacle but the national squad itself.
Yeah, it's definitely country. It's always been country for me, even at youth level, representing Bermuda youth level. And people don't know this, but I didn't play my first ICC tournament in 2005. I couldn't even make the team back then. It was always some political thing that, I used to have the quickest times, everything, and they still used to drop me. And I used to be making runs upon runs, and I never made the ICC. And I remember that year 2004 when Clay came to me, because I was never going to play for Bermuda again. And he said, this is our last chance. And, I went along with the boys because of the crew that we had, because I wasn't even going to be playing anymore for Bermuda, because I always got dropped because they say I was too rude or this, how it is. Anyway, politics. But I was the happiest when I got picked for 2005 for that ICC. And those guys would tell you the speech at at Menace Heath. Hey, you know, really that the boys will tell you like, hey, I'm like, this is my first tournament. I fought my whole life for this. And you guys, I feel it, and this is what's gonna happen. And we just had our emotional breakdown, and these guys will tell you, man. And it went for us. So for me, it was always country. I mean, I got that opportunity, and we qualified is the greatest thing ever. But it will always be, for me, it will always be Bermuda, then Connie, then cup match, because Connie and cup match, right? I'm a St. Davis boy, so it will always be Connie feeling for me. But cup match isn't played the same day. So, you know, they go hand in hand. But Bermuda, I tell you what, if I was a little bit fitter now, I'll wait for a call up. Because if I could see the ball like I used to, you could call me tomorrow, play for Bermuda. If I didn't have a train, I ain't got no energy left. But, you know, yeah, country. And nobody should ever sit back from trying to represent your country. You're born in your sport to reach the pinnacle, and the pinnacle is your country.
Well, gentlemen, thank you very, very much for this walk down memory lane. Dennis, I know you felt good from the start, being in Tehran. Two others from the West End, but we know your heart's in the East, so not to panic, not to worry.
He wants you curse. He wants you curse.
Yeah, I can't curse.
Hey,
Don't fall for that one, Bronny.
Children might be watching. I can't curse.
But again, gentlemen, thank you very much, and we look forward to another edition of A Walk Down Memory Lane, having you guys back and even some more of your teammates to discuss, you know, just what you guys really went through. I think a lot of people got a lot out of tonight. I know we did, in some of the behind-the-scenes stuff and what you guys were challenged to do to eventually represent the country on the biggest stage in cricket, and that's the World Cup.
And Earl, just one more thing real quick. The next time we have Slugger on, we'll tell him, describe how he scored a lucky header against me up Somerset one night. So the next time, and both these other guys play football too. You know what I mean? At a good level. You know what I mean? But Slugger scored a lucky header against me one night up Somerset. The ball hit the back of his head, landed in net, and the rest is history. But anyway, we'll talk about that next time.
Ask him whose boots he had on that night too.
No, but Simon's boots on.
What? All right, Mr. Simons and I had to have a conversation.
It's a good thing it came off your head, then, because it would have been the boots. She would have been wide. Would
have been loops is gone.
Guys, have a good night. Thank you.
Hey,
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, guys.
Thank you. Guys, nice seeing you.